Coming up on this episode of Beer in Front, I'm going to recap the Belgian Import Festival over at Bruz Beers last weekend in Denver, Colorado. I'm going to have my buddy on DT from Space Castle. We ran into each other at the fest, so we're going to talk about it. All that and much more coming up on this week's Beer in Front. This is Beer in Front, part of the Beer Media Group. Every week I'll talk to people in and around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 260 of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a charter member of the Beer Media Group. I had a fabulous weekend. I went over, if you've listened to the show in the last month or so, you know that I was talking about going to the Belgian Import Festival over at Bruz Beers in Denver, Colorado. I went on Saturday. What a phenomenal venue. What a great time. I'm going to recap that on the show. I ran into my buddy DT from Space Castle. He's been on the show in the past. We ran into each other. We hung out. So DT's going to come on and we're going to do a recap, if you will. But this was a great time. Everybody at Bruz Beers, phenomenal event. You guys deserve a pat on the back. What a great festival. So we're going to recap that coming up in a few minutes. I did a quick recap video over on social media. So if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all of that, you'll see I did a quick couple-minute video, posted some pictures from the event, and I can't talk enough about this. This was just a great time, and I have some new headwear, so you're going to have to check out the videos to see that. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/beerinfront. For as little as $1 a month, you could help fund my drinking habit. Next week on the show, there's a new beverage company in Chicago called Five Corners Beverage Company. I'm going to have their co-founder on next week, and we're going to talk about this. I had their salted lemonade. Now, this is it's non-alcoholic. It's a salted lemonade beverage with cumin, and I thought this was really good. I reached out to the owner, and he's going to come on, and we're going to talk. So that'll be next week if you're in the Chicago area and you're looking for some interesting beverages to try. All right, this is going to be a big, fun episode, so let me stop talking here, and let's get on with the show. In beer and beverage news, the Great American Beer Festival announced their 2025 competition categories for this coming year. Some of the new styles were going to be a Czech-style lager, West Coast Pilsner, and dedicated categories for Mexican-style lagers. Check out their website at greatamericanbeerfestival.com for more details. The Durango Herald reported that Ska Brewing in Durango, Colorado, was sold to 2 families last month. According to the article, and from Emily Hutto over at Radcraft, founder Dave Thibodeau will remain president, and there's going to be no changes in personnel. This will get Ska out of debt and can focus on making the same great beer they've been putting out for 30 years. I take one day trip to Colorado, and my top stories are all from there. I saw over on my Brew Buzz that Crooked Stave Brewing, they're out of Denver. They announced details on their holiday ale. This looks really cool. It's a sour ale with raspberries, juniper, and spruce tips. The 50% tariff on aluminum and steel went into effect last week, so we'll see what kind of price hike there's going to be for consumers. If you like beer podcasts, and I'm guessing you do, over on the Brewbound podcast, there was a really cool episode out on merchandise from Rheingeist. If you geek out on stuff like that like I do, I would definitely check that episode out. Rogue is coming out with a Dead Guy Oktoberfest. This is going to be a Marzen-style lager, checking in at 5%. And considering that we're now in the month of June, you're probably going to see this and all the other Oktoberfests coming out really soon. Beer Marketer's Insight reports that Dogfish Head is back to growth for the first time in about 6 years. Their release with the Grateful Dead is leading the way for this iconic brewery. Goose Island is expanding their Beer Hugs line with a new Big Hazy Pineapple. This is going to be a 9.9% in 19.2 ounce cans. Just what we need, more giant beers and giant ABV. June 14th, now this is this Saturday, here in Chicago's iconic Malt Row, Half Acre is having a celebration of friendship and beer with Firestone Walker. According to the press release, this is a full-scale brewery blowout featuring a deep roster of beer, including one-off Daisy Cutter variants, barrel-aged stouts, rare Wild Cove ales, and special Firestone Walker selections. Once you're done with that, you could just head down over to Dovetail on Malt Row. They're having this Saturday their annual Grodziski Day celebration. I've been to this in the past. It's a great time, and that beer, along with everything Dovetail puts out, is always fantastic. So if you're in the Chicago area this Saturday, you got to hit up Dovetail and Half Acre. This is something I wish I saw earlier, but I just had the email today on Monday, June 9th, that Distill Brewing in Normal, Illinois is having this awesome deal for Father's Day. You could pre-order a beer can chicken kit. For $32, you get a whole beer brine chicken, seasoning, barbecue sauce, this lemon cornbread, and a side dish. You have to have your order in by Thursday, so if you're in the Normal, Illinois area, get yourself a beer can chicken kit from Distill. All right, welcome back. As much as I loved being at the Belgian Import Festival over at Bruz last weekend, the highlight for me was meeting in person DT from Space Castle. There I was, just minding my own business, when this handsome young stallion walks up to me, and that was before we even acquired our pink elephant hats. DT's been on the show a couple times before and is your go-to person in Denver for all things beer and pop culture. How you feeling after the weekend?
Ooh, I was feeling a little heavy afterwards, and I've still got a sunburn from being out in the sun all day,
Yeah.
but otherwise, feeling all right.
Yeah, I know. My wife, when I got home, my wife's like, your arms, your nose is all red. I'm like, yeah, we haven't seen the sun in Chicago in months.
Yeah.
Well, it's been way too long since we've talked here. For those that are not familiar with Space Castle, tell people about yourself, the show.
Yeah, man. So I'm a huge pop culture nerd. I love everything movies, cartoons, action figures, video games, beer. People don't realize that like craft beer is super nerdy. But yeah, I do a YouTube channel called Space Castle where it's me floating around in deep space, exploring the universe for all things nerdy, and doing essay videos and all those types of things with some like zany and funny storylines thrown in too.
It seems like the big buzz for this summer right now has been Superman. Are you excited about this movie coming out? I'm looking at your face and I see some apprehension there.
No, I love James Gunn. I think he's going to knock it out of the park, and I'm super psyched for him to be like the go-to guy for all things DC. It has been way too long since we've had really good Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and even Supergirl movies. Like, we haven't had a good Supergirl movie like ever. Like, the last one was in the 80s. But I adore everything he's done all the way back to his Troma days. I love what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. He's got this knack for marrying humor with poignant storytelling. He understands comics. He gets the characters. I think he's going to be amazing. I cannot wait for July.
Yeah, because it's July 11th, so a month from tomorrow as we're recording this. Well, I mean, I want to get your opinion on this before we get into beer and get into the beer festival. Are we ever going to see, especially now with the new movie coming out, are we ever going to get a great Superman video game?
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
We desperately need one. There was talk for a long time about Rocksteady doing one, and that just never came to fruition. But Superman's a hard one to do because he's like really fast, he's really strong. How do you like limit that so one, the player can actually control him, and two, without making it super easy to play? So
yeah,
I don't know. I hope we get one day. But I still love the old Atari game, honestly.
Yeah, I remember the old Atari game, and God, I think there was one on Sega where it was like you were playing like him against Shazam or something like that.
Yeah,
it might have been Sega, but it was like 20, 30 years ago.
I think it was Death of Superman, I think, where he had like the mullet and all that. Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to crack open a Belgian beer, this Duchess Red, that we had there, actually. What are you sipping on right now?
I'm actually drinking a local beer from Colorado. They're based up in Fort Collins. They're called Max Line. And what I'm drinking is their West Coast Double IPA. It's got Chinook, Cascade, Citra, and Simcoe hops, and it clocks in at about 8.2% ABV. So I'm going to be feeling good in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you just got off of work, and there you go, going with the double. Yep. Oh, yeah, this is like really good. I'm pouring it. Actually, I'll put the video out. You could see this is the beer glass that we received at the festival. So awesome looking glass.
Yeah, it's like a proper glass goblet. I was expecting like a little like plastic mug like you normally get from the smaller beer festivals, but they went all out. It's beautiful.
You know, like we were talking at the fest too, like one of the things that I enjoyed about it, it wasn't like Bruz was slapping their name over everything. They let the breweries that were there from Belgium shine. Like you don't even have their name on the glass itself. It's just, you know, proud. I can't read it on mirror screen. Proud of our beers. But yeah, it was just an awesome festival, and this is a great beer.
Yeah, no, I love Bruz Beer. I've been there many times, and I've been there for a couple of festivals too. And like you said, one thing that's really cool about Ryan and the rest of the team is the fact that they let the breweries they host shine. Like they're not there to. Obviously, they're hosting the event, and like their doors are open, so you can go and drink their beers and whatnot while you're inside. But it's not like Bruz Beer presents, and it's not like Bruz Beer merchandise everywhere. Yeah. It's very much letting the breweries that sign on to come and show off their stuff really just be there and be the in the spotlight, which is amazing. It's super selfless. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool venue. I was happy to be there for the first time. You said, you know, you've been there before. Have you been to their other location?
No, just the one off Colfax in Denver.
I mean, it was really cool. I mean, I had one of their beers before, and like when we sat down, you know, almost towards the end of the festival, it was almost unfair to have their Vienna lager after you're drinking all of these Belgian and their, you know, oaked and everything else. So yeah, it was a little unfair to have that right then and there after everything else, but I'll have to have one of those again.
It was a solid beer though. I mean, Bruz, they themselves are no slouches. They're known for putting on these really good festivals and really giving all these amazing, like world-class, world-renowned, worldwide breweries a time to shine, but they themselves make really good beer, and they're worth checking out in and of themselves.
Yeah, the one that I had prior to hooking up with you was Diablo Colorado, and that was really good. I had that. That'll be on the show in a little bit. I had that, and I sat down with the other co-owner, Charlie, and we discussed that beer, and that was just another fantastic Belgian-style beer using Colorado ingredients, so I thought that was really cool, too.
Yeah, Belgian-style beers are making like kind of a breakthrough in Colorado lately. There's a place near me called 12 Degree Brewing that on top of doing a whole stable of really good like cold tap Belgian brews, they also do like paninis and like proper Belgian frites as the side. Oh. So like, yeah, if you're a big French fry fanatic like me, like I know they're going to kill me one day, but I still love them. Yeah. These big old thick Belgian style fries with like blanched perfectly, and their beers are always on point. It's a cool place.
Did you get to check out the food truck while we were there?
No, I was standing right next to it in line, and it was Big Belly Brothers, which I've had them before, but before the event actually even opened up, they brought out like a whole pig and like put an apple in its mouth and like started getting ready to like carve it up to serve it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I was still full from breakfast, so I didn't grab anything to eat while we were there. What were some of the beers that were highlights for you at the festival?
So the one you're drinking was definitely up there, the Duchess de Bourgogne. I think my favorite beer of the entire festival was their cherry variant. Yeah. That was absolutely stellar. Sans Fouillard, they came out with some amazing stuff. West Mall was, I think, the first tent I hit, and they knocked my socks off. St. Bernardus was there, and they have been one of my all-time favorite breweries, like, forever. They brought out St. Bernardus and a bunch of other stuff, and the first thing I did when I went up to their tent was like, hey, I love St. Bernardus ABT 12. It's one of my favorite beers. Hit me with something I may have not had before. And I don't remember what it was because the day got hazy as it went on, obviously. I think it might have been like a triple or something they brought out, but that was wonderful too. And then, of course, Delirium was there. Yeah. They're famous for having Delirium Tremens, and they brought Tremens, they brought Nocturnum. Their head brewmaster flew out from Belgium, and he was the sweetest guy ever. And I got to talk to him. We both did for a little while. And he was so sweet and so humble. And I don't think he realized that I view him as like meeting like a rock star almost. Like, I've been a fan of their beers for so long, and they're so world renowned that like meeting that guy, that artist, was just a cool moment. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I remember like the first time we went up, they had this NA beer. I'm like, all right, well, now I'm curious, so let me try this. And I think like the sales rep was off to the side, and I was talking to him. I'm like, wow, this is really, really good. He's like, well, thank him. He's the guy that brewed it. I'm like, yes. Yeah, but just awesome guys there. Everybody was, for that matter. I mean, no one was like stuck up. Everyone was like happy to, talk to people like us, beer geeks, or just regular fans of beers who wanted to learn more about their brewery and, whatever beer they were serving up.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about like Great American Beer Festival too in previous years was all the brewmasters would fly out with their staff, and you'd have a chance to, chat them up about their beers and their craft and all that type of stuff. And as GABF gets bigger, you see a little bit less of that. But it is super cool that somebody like Bruz put on this type of festival with all these world-renowned breweries, and all of their head people flew out. So you still got that same sort of interaction and that chance to nerd out and to learn things and pick their brain. It was fantastic.
The only bad thing is you couldn't get that bottle opener.
Oh, my God. I can't remember the name of the brewery, but they were so funny about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe it, but it was almost like a copper steampunk sort of collapsible accordion bottle opener. And everybody in our group wanted one really bad. And at one point, I just went back in line. I was like, how much would it take to like just buy that from you? Yeah. And the lady was like, it would have to be at least 50. And I was like, what is your Venmo? And she's like, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. They won't let me sell it. She thought she was going to chase me off, but I was about that. I really wanted it.
Because we went back at the end figuring, all right, the last 5 minutes, let me see if I could get this out of her.
Yeah. But man, that was a cool bottle opener. That was awesome.
That was pretty sweet. I have mine, but I had a can, but I have mine from Duchess that we had to grab there. So that's waiting to go on my keychain at work.
Yeah, I snagged one of those, and St. Bernardus had wood handle bottle openers, like a church key style that I managed to grab right as they opened up too. So I'm very happy to have that. So
yeah. So what do you got going on for the summer? What's new in Space Castle? What are you looking forward to besides Superman?
Oh man, Superman's a big one. Jurassic Park Survival, Jurassic World Survival. Can't wait to see that. As far as Space Castle, I'm cranking out videos all the time about whatever kind of strikes my fancy. So I have some guests that are lined up to come on the show and some really cool topics to talk about. I got some cool projects that are in the works. Some of them I can talk about here. Some of them are kind of top secret until they're ready. But it's going to be a big, fun summer, and I'm really excited to not only get this stuff done because I've been working on it for so long, but also just to share it with everybody. So yeah.
So, we talked a little bit because I think we're kind of similar where we jumped off the Twitter X train and kind of dialed back our social media, where I'll still put stuff out show related on Instagram and the others. But as far as scrolling and doom scrolling, my life's so much more happier that I'm not, doing that. And I know you said the same thing, it's just a joy not being tied down to social media.
Yeah, and I actually kind of did it both for personal reasons and also just as sort of an experiment to see how much I was actually getting out of it. And I mean, no offense to anybody who's getting a lot of interaction on Twitter or whatnot and really feels that it's promoting their projects and their shows or whatnot, but all I'm on anymore is just Blue Sky, just because I like what they're doing. They're kind of punk rock. But I got rid of all the other major platforms, and so far I haven't seen a dip in engagement or anything, honestly. So I'm a little bit happier for it. You said you were too. So, and these are strange times to be on social media. So, there's not a whole lot of good out there on social media. So, maybe I'll come back to it at some point if circumstances change. But for right now, I'm happy not being on it.
Yeah, and that was the bad thing. If I would scroll a little bit more, I would have seen that you posted something that morning of the festival that I'm like, oh, I didn't know, until I saw you there. So yeah, that's the one thing I do miss is more interaction with friends. That's the only thing I kind of miss about that. But yeah, no, it's just happier. Stress levels are a lot lower, not reading all this junk that's going on in the world today.
Yeah, you're not actively looking for that stress. Instead, you're just waiting for it to come to you naturally. But
GT, I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun having you back on, talking about some great beers, talking about the show. once again, tell everyone where they could find Space Castle.
Yeah, the easy way is spacecastle.net. And if you want to go jump on YouTube, you can find it by looking up at Space Castle Show. And there you'll find all my videos, me being silly and goofy. And we've got a link to the Discord and all the videos. We're having a great time. But yeah, come, if you're listening, come hang out and be part of the Galactonaut crew and come explore the universe for nerdy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll include the link in the show notes, but, one of my favorite people, DT, is right here. You got to follow Space Castle. Check him out on YouTube. And we're shirt buddies, too. We have our Belgian Import Fest shirts from the fine people over at Ink and Drink over in Denver. So, yes, you got to check them out, too, if you're in the Denver area.
Yeah, the shirts were super high quality, and they were printing them right there and curing them. It was crazy. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was, really cool, too. Yeah, and I know I grabbed... Ryan was talking about it. I went out and purchased dog macaroons. So my dog's going crazy over it. So I have to give her one a day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, DT, take care of yourself, brother. Enjoy that beer. I know you just got off of work, so I'll let you unwind a little bit, and I'll definitely be chatting with you later.
All right. Love you, buddy. Thanks for everything.
All right, man. Love you too. Take care. We'll see you.
All right. I'm at Bruz Beers in Denver, Colorado. I'm with the co-owner, Charlie.
Yep.
And we're going to sit here and sample some of their offerings. Normally, you get the can open sound when I'm sitting at home, but I'm in a brewery and it's been poured already. So, Charlie, what do we have here today?
Well, you are drinking Diablo Colorado.
Okay.
And Duvel kind of started Duvel means devil in Flemish. And so most of the beers that imitated Duvel would give themselves names like Lucifer and Judas and, Beelzebub and stuff like that. So we named ours, we went Spanish and called it Diablo. And we call it Diablo Colorado because it's all Colorado ingredients.
Yeah, that was the one thing when I was talking to Ryan before and going over the list. I'm like, oh, wow, this looks really cool where it's all local.
Yeah. So everything comes from not that far from here.
Okay, that's awesome.
Probably within an hour of the brewery. So.
All right. So this is it right here?
That's it.
All right. Looks fantastic. Beautiful color here. Nice foam. Love the glasses here.
Yeah, we, every Belgian beer has its own glass, but rather than have one glass for, 18 beers at a time, we decided we have about 6 or 7 glasses.
Okay. But no, the glass work is beautiful. I'll have to take a picture and post it on social media later, but this is outstanding. I really love, what's the ABV on this?
It's 8.5.
8.5. And it's 11:30 in the morning here in Denver. So
yeah, we still wrap this beer.
Yeah, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. But this is really good. I get a little bitterness there towards the back. I love the fruit forwardness. This is just,
they got some apples and pears in there. And
would you say this is like your flagship beer?
Hard to say. As far as our largest sellers, our Dog Days IPA, Belgian style IPA, very popular. Our Dom Blanche wit beer, very popular. It's a pretty excellent example of wit beer, if I do say so myself. And then we sell a lot of our triple. So we always have on tap the 4 Abbey beers, which are single, double, triple, and quadruple. Okay. And, Ryan and I both were triple lovers. We say that Triple Carmelite was the beer that started the brewery when we were in Belgium. And so we always have those 4 available, and then, various other beers at different times. But Diablo would be right up there with top sellers. Yeah.
Now, you were mentioning before, like we were recording, that you're talking in the works about another location, hopefully in the works, knock on wood here.
Yeah. We're looking to expand. We're kind of out of space back in the back of the house where the production is. And we'd like to be able to leave the canning line set up all the time instead of having to break it down. So we've made the best use of our space, but we're out of it. So we will probably move to a new location, have a big production space, have a tap room there, of course, but this would probably just become, a bigger tap room.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, do it all in one spot and then bring it here. But I love the facility here. You couldn't ask for a better day for the Belgian Import Festival. The neighborhood looks good. The restaurant right next door that Ryan told me about, I don't think I'm going to eat again for a month after that biscuit and gravy. But
that was what I had the last time I did. That's great.
This is such a phenomenal place. Like, you've been in the Denver area. you have to definitely go to Bruz Beers. I mean, it's phenomenal. This beer is absolutely outstanding. I wish I had a suitcase that I could throw a 4-pack in, but I don't think TSA is going to let me back in.
Yeah, they're going to make you check your briefcase.
So, but no, this is just,
We're doing a podcast over here.
all right. So yeah, once again, if you're in the Denver area, you got to stop at Bruz Beers. 2 locations right now. Hopefully very soon there's going to be 3. But if you're here, definitely get the Diablo Colorado. That is a fantastic beer. I think you're going to love it. Charlie, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, sir.
Certainly.
All right. Take care of yourself.
All right. You take care too. Enjoy the day.
Oh, I will. Thank you. When I was talking to Charlie, you notice kind of in the middle, he's like, hey, we're doing a podcast here. They were getting ready to start the festival. I was talking to him right before it started. Well, behind the bar, they just started blasting some Jack White music. So it's like, whoa. So we got that down. So that's kind of where we had to break it up in the middle of it. But I want to thank Charlie, and I apologize now because I know I'm going to butcher his last name, Gottenkini from Bruz Beers, for talking about the fabulous Diablo Colorado. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. If you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, please email me, dave@beerinfront.com. I want to thank once again DT from Space Castle for coming on to recap the fabulous Belgian Import Festival over at Bruz Beers last weekend. And thank you to Ryan Evans and Charlie from Bruz Beers for talking the past couple of months. Phenomenal time, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me. And Emily Hutto from Radcraft, who introduced us. Have a great week, everyone. I'll talk to you next week. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.